Hey guys, since I'm giving you a tour of my equipment and telling you some of the stories behind it, I figure it's time for the baler. Had a couple questions, a couple comments about the baler. So I just give you the rundown quick of the New Holland 565. Small square baler with the thrower on the back. This was another purchase from a farm. I like to do that. I like to get them from farms, especially if I kind of know the operation or know a little bit about it. Somebody had made the comment about the Ford emblem on the front. I didn't put that on. That was on a lot of the early 90s New Holland equipment. You had your New Holland emblem and you had a Ford emblem. And that was around the time of the Ford New Holland merger. If I would have got a couple year newer, this is a 93 I think, you'd get the New Holland emblem, the leaf, the New Holland leaf, if it was a little bit newer. But like I said, this is a 93, around the time of the merger. When I bought this, I saw it advertised and went to look at it. And let me tell you what, it was filthy. I mean, it was just top to bottom, grimy, alfalfa dirt, hay dirt, dust, straw dust. I mean, every single area where hay could collect, it was collected, filled with dirt. I mean, it was a mess. Now I did go over to the twine box and I just wiped on it a little bit, and I saw there was real nice red paint underneath. Talking to the owner that had it, he didn't believe in power washing his baler, and there is some truth to that. Power washing your baler is a good way to start having some issues and some problems. But I mean, he didn't clean it at all from what I could see. And I don't mean to badmouth him. There's a lot of guys like that. My neighbor just over the hill, his baler looks like that. Just filthy top to bottom. Now he does blow it off with the air compressor, and I'm sure this got blown off from time to time, but it was a mess, and it kind of turned me off in buying it. But I saw what was underneath, and don't let the how it looks discourage anybody. I mean, you saw my videos on the 560, and some of the earlier videos of how rusty and how crappy looking it was. With a little bit of work and some cleaning and sanding and paint, I mean, you can bring it back to 100%, or say 80% anyway. So yeah, I saw this advertised and I wasn't really too happy with how dirty it was. He didn't have that many acres that he covered of hay. I think he said he had about 40, somewhere in there. I could be wrong. Somewhere around that area, 40 acres that he did, alfalfa. He's getting out of the hay business and decided to sell his baler. So I said, all right, I'll keep it in mind. I was looking around for a square baler to upgrade. I had a 275 New Holland, which was a real great baler, and it actually missed less bales than this one. But I just needed something a little bit bigger. I had more hay acres and wanted something that would handle a little bit more hay acres. Anyway, so I went to my local New Holland dealer, and I was talking to him, asking if he knew about any balers, any square balers around. And he knew about this baler. And he said, yeah, he said, we been out a couple times to work on it, and they basically talked me into buying it. They said, it's a real nice baler. They know it. He didn't use it that much. It has real low use to it. Yeah, it's a mess, but he never cleaned it up or power washed it. And they kind of... He asked what he was asking for it. The guy, I think he wanted $67.50 is what the asking price was, which was fine. It was well in my price range. I was looking at balers all the way up to 10 grand. I didn't want to spend that much, but I was still looking at them. And when I told the dealer what he was asking, the dealer said, well, we've been trying to trade that baler in for years because they can usually turn around something like that pretty fast. And he told me he figured if it was on their lot, they'd be probably asking somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000. So I thought, well, I try to never buy anything that is going to have negative equity. That's why I don't buy new. I don't want to be the guy taking the depreciation off the lot. It can go to somebody else, and then I'll try to get it at a good deal later. And if you buy new, I don't mean to condemn you for it. I'm Pennsylvania Dutch, and that's how I am. I'm looking for a good deal on the seconds. Uh, it's a curse I have to live with anyway. But so it didn't have many bales through it, and like I said, with my dealer saying that they figured it was a $10,000 baler, I called the guy back and I said, "Hey, I'll give you 65." And I didn't quite have the hauling figured out yet because it wasn't somewhere where I wanted to tow it. The roads are just atrocious here in Pennsylvania, especially where I live. Potholes. It was just early in the spring. And if you know anything about Pennsylvania, first thing in the spring, from the winter, all the plow trucks, our roads are just littered with potholes. And I didn't want to be banging this baler around on potholes. I wanted to get it on a trailer and get it home. So I was asking around about Holland. I didn't get much satisfaction. And the guy said he would take 6,600 and he would deliver it. So at that, I was happy. I said, we'll do the deal. And he brought it out here. We unloaded it. And the first thing I did was power wash it. I waited for a real warm day in the spring. I blasted it off and got this paint to come out again. And it was a couple layers. The first layer was all the dust and dirt. The second layer was that black tar, that film that builds up on them. So I was just slowly working with the power washer, trying to get it as clean as possible to see what I was dealing with. I didn't know what was broke underneath. I mean, you just couldn't see. It was a mess. So I was real happy with the way it looked once it was power washed. It does look like a real nice baler when it's clean. It's a little dirty now. I didn't clean it up yet, but so I power washed it and took the air compressor with the nozzle and blew out all of the areas where I didn't want water to try to dry it out. And then left it out in the sun for just about all day to dry. And then I greased everything and then ran it to make sure that none of the water's sitting in anywhere. And then after it was washed and cleaned, I even put a small coat of wax on. Not a whole lot, just enough to try to keep the hay from sticking. It worked pretty good on the side, not so much on the top. So yeah, since I have it, I had to put some new pickup teeth on. I bought it that way. It was missing, I don't know, 10 or 12 pickup teeth. I was able to get those aftermarket, $1.59 a piece, I think they were. I got them. They were A&I actually, aftermarket. And found out the hard way that there's a serial number break on this baler. I made the mistake of ordering the ones for the earlier serial number, and they're a different pitch to them, so different angle where the bolt goes in. So here I have a box of 25 teeth for the wrong baler. Didn't send them back yet, but there they are. So I put them on. So that was a pretty cheap fix, and the wash it off was pretty cheap. This cylinder was coated with oil when I brought it home. I thought it must have had a major leak. I did go over the fittings, and it's just the packing is leaking just a little bit at the cylinder. So that's minor. I think it's for the amount I've used it, it's not leaking that bad. I have to take the wagon hitch to get it in the building here. It digs in. But the belts, I mean, there was no, usually you see the lines on the belt sometimes. There's no wear there. He did some beefing up here on the thrower springs, and they can be an issue if you don't have the right tension to get it to throw the bale to the back of the wagon. What else? He had a new knotter on there, and that's the side it still misses, so it still needs a little fine tuning. You saw the video that I did with the knotter knives, the twine knives. And the other thing, he had it already, and I'm glad he gave it with the baler. It's dark in here, but this one, you ain't gonna be able to see it, I guess. This one pickup for the sweep was broke. It's a $70 part from New Holland, and he gave it with the baler, and let me tell you, it is not an easy job to change. I had to take these tracks out of here and tear the whole the sweep arm apart to change it, and the adjustment was off on these a little bit, so a little bit of tinkering here and there. I would have liked to upgrade to the 575 to have a higher capacity baler. I like the rotary feed and a little bit wider pickup. All things that I would have liked to have. I'd like to have hydraulic pickup on the head, but for what I paid for it, it's been putting bales through this year for me. So I do want to try to get into some round baling to get rid of some of these square bales, have less less square bales, especially excuse me, especially by myself, working by myself. I have to unload every bale I make basically by myself, so it sometimes it's not fun, but I like to do a combination to serve different customers' needs. Round bales do have a little bit of a market here in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of steer feed, people feeding steers. There's a lot of dairy farms, and I have no problems with getting rid of them, I'm pretty sure. This winter I want to make a video. I want to see about the knives on the plunger. I want to do a video of replacing them. I'm sure it could be sharpened. I want to get the kit and put a new set of plunger knives on, and probably bearings, the plunger bearings. It's you probably hear in my videos, it sounds a little rough, and I don't know if that's just from me pressure washing or if it's time to get them changed to get it running a little smoother. So no complaints. I thought I did pretty well on this. I put a new rope on, and that was minor. Has the electric thrower speed control, which is nice. I haven't had any issues with that. Works good. So yeah, it's been a pretty good baler for me, and for what I paid for it, I know that if I want to upgrade, at least my dealer thinks it's a $10,000 baler. And you've seen my videos of the homemade hay preserve applicator. If you haven't and you want to put a cheap applicator on there, watch the videos. I kind of get into how I did that. And the twine box, I wish was a little bit bigger. Only holds 4 575s, that bigger ones. And I don't know if that was just an option. I've seen a 315 that's had the bigger twine box, but hey, it is what it is, and I'm not opposed to making do. It's definitely a step up from my 275 New Holland baler. And I've had a couple other ones in there. I've had a Massey's and a whole list I've tried out. And for as diehard international as I am, I don't recommend international balers. If you have one, that's good. If it ties a knot for you, that's great. You won't lose any sleep at night or say some things you shouldn't have said. But we're going to keep this one rolling, and I don't know much about round balers. I really want to do my homework. If anybody has any experience with different kinds of round balers, go ahead and comment. I love to hear what you say. I usually do a lot of research on some of this stuff before I buy it. So that's the overview on the New Holland, I think it's a 1993 565 small square baler. So thank you guys for watching.